I'm back, so let's talk about TBRs. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Pete and this is the Ponderings of Pete. I'm back, indeed. I have been in a bit of an editing slump for the past month or so and haven't really been able to put out that much. But I am working on getting back into the swing of things, and this is the first of many, hopefully. Second of many, technically, including the theory video that I just put out, which was fun because theories. Stormlight theories are great. I definitely have been reading over the past, month and a half or so since I haven't been posting. So I will be talking about those in a wrap-up that I'll be posting soon. But in the meantime, let's talk about what I'm going to be reading in September, or what I'm currently reading, really, because I've already finished some of the books on this list. First off, let's talk about the ones that I've already finished and what I'm in the process of. The first one that I finished this month is Going Postal by Terry Pratchett. I was planning on reading this in August, but things got away. Big books got in the way. And yeah, this was a buddy read on Grace Dion and Overly Average Ben's Discord server, which will be linked down below. I had a lot of fun with this one. This is the third Discworld novel that I've read. The other two being Guards and The Color of Magic. And I definitely connected with this one the most. A lot of the jokes and the things that Terry Pratchett was poking fun at were things that relate to me. For instance, business and profit and some other things. Being an accountant, these things weigh on my mind in their own way. And definitely being tapped into the business world in a very interesting way through Reddit, through Wall Street Journal, through a bunch of other things, through accounting in general. There are things that he made fun of in this book that I was like, that's accurate. Okay. Too accurate. It's just hit a lot of things that I've been thinking about recently, especially with the status of employer-employer relations in general today. And I loved it. Looking forward to reading the next one, which is Making Money. At some point, we'll see when that happens, though. If you're not familiar with Discworld or Terry Pratchett, Going Postal is his satire about a fraudster named Moist von Lipwig, who is slated to run the government post office, and he collides with another businessman who runs the Clacks company, or the semaphore company. Moist is a delight in his own way, and of course all the cast and characters are hilarious and entertaining. And Sir Terry, asks some interesting questions with golems, with work, with people. It was really interesting. The next one that I have already read, and is on my TBR this month, is The Alloy of Law. This originally was on my August TBR, but again, endings got in the way, thick books got in the way. I've already finished this one up. This is the first in Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn Era 2, soon-to-be quadrilogy. I'm doing a reread of them in preparation for Bands of Mourning coming out in November. I'm also going to be reading Shadows of Self. I'm actually in the middle of that right now, and it's really interesting. I've been looking forward to this reread because I've only read them once about more than 2 years ago now, kind of when I first started my job in accounting and got out of college. And I wouldn't say they're amazing, but there are some great moments. There are some interesting, Cosmere implications. And I really like the setting as well. Just the slight scale up of technology and, the gunslinging and the noir aspects of Shadows of Self. It's great. I like how Sanderson even managed to evolve his own magic system in some interesting ways that just make sense. So, enjoying that. The next book I'm going to talk about is a self-published book, one that was recommended me by Andrew at Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and then the author reached out to me and sent me a copy, and it's great. It's called The Legend of Black Jack. I believe, I remember, what little I know off the top of my head is that it is a coming-of-age story, it's fantasy, and a lot of people on Booktube love it. So I'm trying not to watch their reviews. I'm trying to go in as blind as possible. So just to see what happens. I think it's a portal fantasy, if I remember correctly, where a guy gets pulled into a world from our world. But I think that's about it. He might be a chosen one too. I'm fine with going in slightly blind. This next one is a buddy read for Library of Alexandria on his Discord server. We are continuing through the Shadow campaigns with Book 4, Guns of Empire by Django Wexler. So far, I've really enjoyed this series. I've read the first 3, and I think I'll be talking about the second and the third one in the wrap-up coming forward. This series follows several characters in a vaguely French Napoleonic era. We have the French Revolution, and then we have a character that seems a lot like Napoleon, a tactical genius, and the characters that surround him, and there's magic and intrigue and field battles with muskets. This is a flintlock fantasy, and it's really good so far. Definitely lighter on the magic than some of the other flintlock out there, like Promise of Blood, but I think I'm enjoying this one more than I enjoyed the Promise of Blood. The next two are kind of buddy reads. These are for the Hobathon, or whatever we're calling it. A bunch of us are getting together and reading a bunch of Robin Hobb's books. We have mostly centered around Gregory LaPerche's Discord, but this month I'll be reading a short story and a Hobb book, hopefully. The first being The Willful Princess and The Piebald Prince. This book was written after the first three trilogies were written, but from what I can tell from our Hobb mom, Derry, this is the good place to read it, because it provides a little bit of context for this third trilogy that I'm about to start with, which is Fool's Errand. I said it was by Robin Hobb, right? I just finished Live Ships, really loved it. Hobb is just a master at her craft, but we will talk about that more. I did do a live show recently with Anitha Gade, but we will talk about that more when I do my wrap-up. So, starting the next trilogy, it's exciting. Another buddy read for you. I will be reading The Paper Menagerie by Ken Liu. I recently finished Ken Liu's Dandelion Dynasty, loved it, another thing to talk about in the wrap-up, and I really, really wanted to get my hands on some more Ken Liu, and most of the other stuff pretty much all the other stuff he's written has been short stories, and this is one of the short story collections, and I've had some friends that have really loved it, really been torn apart by this, so me, Grace Dion, and Overly Average Ben are all reading this together this month, and it's exciting. Just Ken Liu is a fantastic author, and I'm really, really looking forward to reading these. Another self-published book, also sent to me by the author. This is the second book in the Wars of Wrath, I believe it is, and this is Baton Hill by I Anonymous. I enjoyed the first one, like hints of Arthurian legend combined with African myth and some other Byzantine things going on. You have a giant dragon, you have King Arthur, a lot of interesting fantasy things all blended together in this series, and Girls Will Just felt really short to me, so now we have the second one coming out, which is great. So he sent me this, I'm excited to review it. Now that I've ended 5 different series last month, I am going to work on getting more series done. Starting with Voyage of the Basilisk by it's not by Lady Trent, it's by Marie Brennan, but it's about the something of Lady Trent, the memoirs of Lady Trent. Dragons! And this is the third in the series. Lady Trent is amazing. Like, it's a good series. I read the first one, I think last year, and then the second one sometime this year. I'm trying to finish this series this year. Lady Trent is a dragonologist, is that what you call it? She is basically a dragon nerd in the pseudo Jane Austen England that she lives in, and she goes on adventures. That sounds a lot more campy than I make it sound. She literally was in the jungle in the last one. It was great. And making contact with foreign civilizations. So this one she's going on a seed trip to look at Basilisk, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I just really enjoyed them. They're really cozy in their own way. And I've heard that the dragon anatomy explanations and all that such goes up and up and up more as the series goes on, which is great because I was looking forward to that. Because look at this beautiful cover. I think that's a poor explanation of it all, but like, it's good. I promise you. At least I liked it. And then next, this is kind of a continuation of one of the ends I had. This is the Hex Circuit Stories by Yoon Ha Lee. This is a collection in the Machineries of Empire universe, which I think some of these short stories are not necessarily canon. I don't know. The author just really likes to write random stuff in the universe, which is great. And particularly there is one short story that I know continues the story after the third Machineries of Empire book, which is Revenant Gun. So I'm looking forward to get to that. I have started this one already and enjoyed the tiny little snippets of culture and everything that's in there. Plus, there's a timeline in this one to show where everything fits, which would have been kind of useful in the last book because the time kind of jumped around. Kind of completing that universe, a bittersweet moment, but again, absorbing the creativity and the coolness that is Machineries of Empire. More on that, of course. Guess what? in the wrap-up coming up. And the final book, Infinite Jest. This has been on my TBR basically all the year. And I actually read some, and I'm actually like working to get a significant chunk of it done this month so I can actually finish this year. Hopefully in the next 2 months, but this year is the intention. This is a great book, and very interesting, very, very weird book. If you haven't heard me talk about it before, big themes of addiction, consumerism, all these pressures that our modern age puts us on. And it was written in 1996, and it's scarily accurate still. It's weird, but it's interesting. If you liked any of these books, I will have links down below to buy at least all of them, maybe most of them, we'll see. Some of those links, if they're at bookshop.org, it is an affiliate link. If it's to Amazon, it is not, because I don't take money from Amazon. I also have a link down to my Discord down below, which is there. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you so much for watching. Get some rest, because rest is super important. So.